Hey friends, you're listening to the AI Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we talk tools, stories, and strategy for today's founders. I'm your host, Angelina Shively, and this show is for entrepreneurs who are curious about AI and want to know how to transform their businesses. In each episode, I share honest conversations about what's working, what's not, and the lessons learned along the way. If you're ready to use AI to save time, think bigger, and build smarter, you're in the right place. Let's go. Okay, welcome. I'm so excited to have my first guest on our podcast today. And this is Ronda Taylor with Midlife Rondavous. So, Rhonda, will you tell us just a little bit about your business that you have?
Yeah, I'll go back a little bit. So I became a full-time digital nomad in midlife. I was 52. And so I've been traveling solo while running remote businesses. And on the outside, it might have looked like freedom, but behind the scenes, every single trip came with a hidden cost. And I'd spend days, sometimes weeks, planning just to make sure I didn't sabotage my work, my health, my sanity. There's just so much involved when you're planning remote work trips like that and when you're doing it full time. There's so many things that play a part: time zones, internet reliability, safety, schedules, food, even your energy levels. It's a constant, like, mental load. So what surprised me most, even after almost 10 years now of living this lifestyle, like, it still really hasn't gotten easier. It just got more complex.
Right.
And so what I do now, Midlife Rendezvous, is I mentor midlife women to live a location independent lifestyle, build confidence, and teach them kind of the tools of the life, of the lifestyle. And because of all the systems in the background that most of us don't talk about, and we don't understand, why are we burned out? Why does it feel so chaotic every time I'm planning a trip? And as I got more interested into I realized something really important, that remote work tools weren't really built for people who actually live this way. They're built for vacations and not really for real life. Now that I'm in my 60s and really got on board with AI, I'm a non-coder. So I decided to build the tool that I wished I'd had all along. And that's where Nomad Flow comes into play, because it's not just about traveling more, it's about traveling better. So, Nomad Flow is an AI powered system that helps remote professionals, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, anybody who really travels for work, remote teams that support their work, their energy, and their well being without the burnout or chaos. Because who doesn't want to travel and enjoy the lifestyle, enjoy the exploration, while also being productive? At its core, Nomad Flow exists to prove that you don't have to choose between freedom and stability. You can design both intentionally.
So amazing. Okay, so before we talk about Nomad Flow, tell us a little bit about how did you get started in AI? How did that journey look for you?
So AI actually felt like a threat to me
Okay, tell me
in the
more.
beginning, because I have been a book designer and a self-publishing consultant for 25 years. And that was what I was doing. I was running my freelance book design business while I was traveling.
Okay,
And AI has really changed the landscape of graphic design. It's changed the publishing industry. And I started feeling really threatened that these jobs or the AI was going to take away what I knew how to do without AI. And so I remember the day that I just decided to look into it. It's like, there's got to be something more to this, and I want to understand it before
right.
I start making a decision. And I learned that it was there to amplify my voice, amplify my work. and not so much take away or replace me. So that's when I started going down the path. Jonathan Mast was my first inspiration. I joined his Facebook group and eventually just became an addict. So
Right.
I have taken dozens and dozens of his courses. I really took a deep dive into AI and realized that I really loved building custom GPTs and using all these tools, and it just took off from there. And I met you in the process. Suzanne Taylor has been an AI mentor of mine, as well as a from a coaching aspect as you. And so that's where it all began. And even though I'm still designing books and helping authors self-publish their books, I'm using AI tools that I've built to support them, to support the authors, and as well as women in midlife who want to live a location independent lifestyle.
And so, what did you find when you were creating the custom GPTs? You were like, okay, this is very powerful, but what was there something that was missing? And you were like, okay, I know this is a great tool, but I'm looking for more.
I Because of Jonathan's courses, there were a couple of courses that he had that were about creating courses.
Uh huh.
And I thought maybe that's the road I want to go down. Maybe I want to start teaching it from the lifestyle that I live and from the perspectives that I have from traveling for almost a decade now solo.
Right.
And so I put together a course that taught you how to plan your trip and build a productivity schedule at the same time. And it turned out to be more of a, I'm just going to say, a learning lesson. So
Yes.
the class didn't it wasn't as popular as I had hoped it was, and that's okay. I and But in the back of my mind, like, there was more to this trip planning productivity piece of it. So I had built these custom GPTs to support the workshop that I did. And after the workshop, I was just like, there has to be more for this. Like, I wanted something interactive. And so I started using AI to not troubleshoot, but I was curious about
Yeah. As like a
I
brainstorm
have
partner. Right.
I have this GPT and I have this GPT, but this is what I really am dreaming about. Like, I want it to be interactive. I want it to be more because, like, some of the top reasons that adults in midlife, especially women, don't travel is because they fear for their safety. And they also fear loneliness. What am I going to do out there? Who am I going to talk to? And so I really wanted to focus on those aspects. So as I was brainstorming with I found a way that I could create an interactive itinerary.
Okay.
And I was like, ding, ding, like, all of a
Yes.
sudden, all the bells went off, and I was like, "Okay, this is exactly what felt so right." Like, it just felt like it completed everything. So, I knew I met you from Suzanne's group, and I reached out, and I was just like, because I had already watched all your videos. I love your YouTube channel,
Thank you.
and I had been following you for a while. I was like, "I'm just gonna reach out." And so that's what started it all because I don't know anything about coding. I didn't know anything about building an app. And now that I've built one, I didn't even realize the trajectory or the massive trajectory change that it created for me. So then I built Nomad Flow. And
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the app. What you had this vision, you were like, I think it's going to be amazing, but I'm not really sure. How did you get started?
So, Nomad Flow is an AI powered planning system
Okay.
for people who work remotely and want to travel without the chaos, the burnout, or the constant over planning, because that does take a lot of time. So
Right.
it helps you design work from anywhere trips that actually support your work, your energy, and your life rather than fighting against all those things. So I like to say it turns I could work from anywhere into I know exactly how to work from there.
Amazing. And so tell us a little bit about that process. So you started out, you were like, I'm not really sure. I had this big vision of what I want to see happen. And then from start to finish, you really created this app in less than 2 months for sure. It was a process, but you were able to get it from your brain to ready to market in such a short amount of time. And
In 2.5 weeks. I
amazing.
I had the MVP built in 2.5 weeks, like, I knew it, and so then I just expanded on it after that and perfected it and fine-tuned it. The problem that Nomad Flow solves is the invisible problem is the mental load, right? We don't think about it, we just know that it's something that we have to do. So, remote workers don't struggle with motivation. They struggle with juggling logistics and time zones and safety and productivity and well being all at once. So, Nomad Flow removes that friction so people can focus on doing great work, but also enjoy where they are in the world because that's the whole point. So, what inspired me, as I mentioned before, I've been a full time digital nomad for almost a decade. So, every single trip required days, sometimes weeks of planning just to avoid mistakes that could derail my work or even my health. So at some point, I realized, why are experienced remote professionals still doing this manually? So Nomad is the tool I wish I'd had from day one.
Awesome. So it sounds like what you did was you took your years of experience, the things that you knew that were struggles for you, and then built a framework around it and then created an app. And that's just so amazing.
And it turned into something so much bigger. So it's funny because I was calling this a micro app
Uh huh.
for so long, and then the more people in the AI world that I was sharing this with, they're like, "There's nothing micro about this." And so I had to come to terms with that because it really just started as a side project, and I thought that's all it would be, but it has grown into this operating system that is really robust and powerful, and it still blows my mind because I don't code. Like,
Right.
I'm not a developer. I'm a systems thinker with lived experience. Like, I knew the
Yes.
problem intimately because I've been living it, and I mapped the solution clearly, and I used modern tools to bring it to life. So that's actually one of Nomad Flow's core beliefs is you don't need permission or perfect credentials to build something meaningful.
I love that. And there were two things you said that I think are so important for anyone listening who is when you come up with this idea and this concept, you can fall into a trap, which I know that this was something that you struggled with, but you were like, you just, once you started, you just kept building and you're like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, and I can do this. And then what was the point at which you were like, okay, I have to rein it in or focus on this particular, let's get it built and get it shipped.
So, what I have created is phase one of Nomad Flow, and it's already very robust. It does a lot. And because of the digital nomad lifestyle I've been living, and also having residency in Spain as a digital nomad, there's a lot that comes with that. So there's visa regulations. And then if you live long enough outside of the US, now you have taxes that come into play. So I have phase 2 coming. And at some point I was like, okay, I need to get this launched. I didn't plan on this taking over my life, which it has.
Absolutely.
And it just needed to be launched. So I'm now launching because it's for the remote professionals who take their work seriously and want freedom. So it's consultants and founders, creatives and midlife professionals, especially people who aren't backpacking
Right.
or they're not backpacking forever because I travel with a backpack sometimes, but they're not done exploring either. Right? So a lot of the users, it was built with midlife remote work professionals in mind because that's the life obviously that I've been living, and they want travel to support their life, not exhaust it. So yes, it has come from 10 years of systems and knowing what I know about traveling around the world, the things I needed to account for as far as safety and my health and the where am I at in the world and what can I do there? Where are the co-working spaces and what kind of restaurants will support my dietary needs
Right.
and things like that. And yeah, there were so many layers, but especially for women in midlife who are in their 40s and beyond. So there are extra layers added in for no with Nomad Flow that pertain specifically for women in midlife because we deal with different things, right? Our health, we have menopause, jet lag can take over sometimes. Like there's a lot of different things that we need or maybe want assistance with, our mindset, and how do we deal with safety and our health and all those things tied together. And so that's really who Nomad Flow is for the midlife
Yeah.
remote professional.
So let's say someone does not really know about AI and they're just getting started. What kind of in their business, what kind of tips would you want to offer them? Is there any advice that you think would be helpful?
For people who are already traveling or people who want to.
I think really just even in general in AI and their business, that mindset that you talked about, shifting the thinking that AI is going to take over versus how can I leverage AI in my business? What does that look like?
So I'm going to say take small steps because I took big leaps at times and it set me back. So if this is the lifestyle that you are already living, then I feel like AI is something that you want to embrace. It's not going away. And there is so much you can learn about AI and how it can help your performance and how it can amplify your voice, your life, your systems. And as far as traveling goes, like there are so many myths about people traveling solo. And even if you're not traveling solo, like Nomad actually supports couples, families, even your pet. Like I encountered countless people who are traveling with their dogs. I've even encountered people who are traveling with their cats. And Nomad Flow accommodates that and then will actually suggest dog parks nearby or what vaccinations are required. Is there a quarantine required in the country? So yeah,
So,
but
so
go
one
ahead.
thing I take away from that is that you really used all of your knowledge and expertise from travel and then allowed AI to help you to create a tool for someone who can use all of that expertise and then have it be interactive, which I think is so powerful and helpful. That's a great lesson. Rhonda, could you tell us just a little bit about how AI is supporting your workflows right now? What have you found to be successful in your process right now?
So AI is helping me get better organized. It's helping me amplify my voice with the campaign I'm working on. I'm getting ready to launch a 30-day Nomad Flow work from anywhere challenge. And so it's helping me with the funnels and the workflow, and it's helping me with my social media posts and my blog posts and my newsletter. There are just so many different ways I use AI to help me amplify my voice and get the message out there. And so baby steps is really all it takes. Like, just start having a chat with ChatGPT, or check out Claude, or there are the tools now are, I feel, are infinite, right? They just
Yes.
keep going on. And one thing I will definitely say is, if you take on too much too soon, it will overwhelm you.
Okay, that's a
And
great tip.
that has happened to me. Like, I wanted to know everything about everything, and every time something new came on board, I wanted to try it, I wanted to know about it, and it was too much. Like, the overwhelm took over, and my ADHD brain, like, it just lives on in the ideation process, and I love being creative, and I had to reel it in. I
Yes.
really had to reel it in and just focus on a few things at a time.
And I love that you're using AI to help you to do that. So I think that's a really important thing for listeners to just pick an area to focus on, even if it's just one task that you can think of that's okay, this is something that is taking me time. I can try this to help me. So
Yeah.
if you had to pick, we're going to have a favorite AI tool besides Nomad Flow. What would that favorite AI tool be right now that you're using?
Oh my goodness. There are, I don't know if I can choose. I use ChatGPT a lot. But I've also built a lot of custom GPTs that help me with my processes. But outside of ChatGPT, I would say I'm leaning into Gemini a lot more. Like, it's becoming such a powerhouse. And even now, there's probably 3 more things that are new that I don't even know about it. But Gemini is something that I've really been leaning into lately.
And I think that what you talked about, the 3 new tools, like there's always new things coming out. So I think it's easy for us to get overwhelmed by, oh gosh, I have to learn something new. And so I think that's the
Yeah.
power of being in a community where you can slowly learn things and take it in at your pace and then decide what is going to be helpful for you, but also to say, okay, I don't necessarily need that right now. And I know that's something you and I have discussed. And
Yeah.
sometimes we get stuck in, I have to learn, I have to learn, I have to learn, that it almost paralyzes us from doing. So I think that's one thing that I like to take away, that while it's important to get new information, taking it and doing something with it like you've done is definitely amazing.
Thank
So
you.
tell us a little bit. You mentioned your 30-day challenge. Tell us a little bit about how users can learn more about your app.
So the website is nomadflow.ai, and it's ready to, like, the landing page is there. You can look at it. I do have a promotion going on until the end of January. It does have a 7-day free trial. However, if you join the challenge, I will extend the free trial to 14 days, and it's 30 days of learning everything about Nomad Flow. So it's learning how to create the blueprint. So a blueprint is a trip. So there are 3 agents that make up Nomad Flow from the AI side of it. So they're specialized AI agents, and each is focused on a different part of the experience. One is planning, the other's productivity, and then the third agent is safety. So they work together like a calm, experienced team instead of one noisy assistant. So the challenge is designed to, it's really more like a guided experience. So there will be weekly Zoom calls where I will answer questions, provide more information about Nomad Flow, and then there will be emails throughout the week teaching you how to do different tasks and how to create different things. So at the end of the by the end of the challenge, you will have a blueprint that you can literally take with you on the road that you'll have. And then, of course, inside Nomad Flow are all the tools that you can use on your while you're traveling
Awesome.
on your work trip.
I just thank you so much for taking time to chat with us. As always, it was a pleasure. I served as your coach to help and support you, but your brain and your excitement and energy is through the roof. And I wish you the best of luck. And I look forward to sharing this with our audience and appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure and an honor being your first guest.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited about working together with you because that's not going to end. And I'm excited about the launch and success of Nomad Flow.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the AI Amplified podcast for entrepreneurs. If you want to learn more about my work, head on over to my website at aicoachingwithangelina.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with a friend. See you next week.